Capricorn, welcome to a life path reading for September 2020. It's Rena here. Seeing it seems like it's a little bit askew there. It was so funny because I was just about to press record and I felt something kind of tickling me, and I looked and it was a caterpillar on my arm, and I went outside and put it in nature, and now I'm wanting to know like what kind of totem or what kind of omen is a caterpillar when it crosses your path. I had the same thing with a lightning bug earlier today, so I'm gonna have to look that up. Some insect visitations. So let me just put these out, and I'm going to tell you what this reading is supposed to be. Okay, so I do these readings periodically. Sometimes I stress one aspect over another as far as they go. These readings, life path readings, are just kind of like checking in at the juncture you're in your life's journey to see like what the themes are. So rather than a monthly tarot reading that's just like talking about mundane events, I call these more philosophical in nature and kind of like thought-provoking to see like if there are things that you are experiencing, just even if like it's a certain type of theme that keeps reappearing, and what does that mean. So for instance, I have here the Three of Swords as one of the cards for the current situation, and that can be a card of feeling rejection, feeling a sense of somebody being chosen over you. And if that is something that has been a theme in your life, are you willing to look at it at a deeper level instead of just talking about what happened, how they did you wrong? And it doesn't have to be romantic either. It could be in the workplace, that you always feel second best, that whenever there's the chance for promotion and you really work hard and you're really doing it, somebody else gets it, what does that mean? And usually if you go back to childhood, you can see a pattern starting from there. And I would say that it's not even from childhood. It can, and that's not the beginning of it either. It could be coming from past lives. And that this lifetime you just picked up where you left off, because there is something behind all of this. I feel like there is a belief that is firmly rooted that maybe I'm not good enough, I can't have what I want, I'm not deserving of this. So some of these things may not be apparent on the surface, but they're there. And the way that you find out about these feelings is when you do have success and it freaks you out. Then you know for sure that it was never really about other people. It was really about your own limiting, self-limiting beliefs that kept you in that cycle. And when you finally broke the cycle, it's like it scared you, because then you have to accept the fact that you can't tell that sob story anymore and say, oh, I never get what I want, because you finally got what you want, and now what? So it's really weird. I'm saying that because the same thing happened to me. Okay. So this is some of the past that has, and it doesn't have to be that far. See, I readjusted my new tripod. I'm still having problems with this. I will I'm getting a new phone, and if the camera is decent enough to record indoors, then I might just start using the phone, and that would be lighter and the whole shebang than what I'm using right now. So please bear with me as I'm still, but I did something that made it so, oh God, what can I do here? Okay, this is the Justice card, half of it, and this is a card that is talking about maybe just literal legal matters that have been rendered in the past that have brought up things for you. So an example is, okay, so we have, along with that card, the Lover's card. So when you put these two cards together, the Lover's card and the Justice card, it really is a lot of times going to be about some kind of personal relationship that for some reason, had to involve the law. So typically we would say a divorce, and maybe lovers, meaning that you have somebody that you've fallen in love with and also gotten divorced. Now these are past cards, so not saying that this just recently happened, but if this is, it can work either way, that somebody else had a lover too, I suppose. I usually like to look at it from the person's point of view that I'm doing the reading for, and think that it's them. And if that's the case, then you may have had somebody else that you were planning to be with. Now, the problem with that is that this is where it can get really tricky, because sometimes a person assumes that if they leave a current partner, then everything's going to be perfect. They're going to live happily ever after with their new person in their life, only to find out that that person wasn't really necessarily being honest, that they were kind of feeding them with what they wanted to hear. And so when you finally, maybe the other person was saying, using the fact that you were married, and maybe they were married too, as an excuse, and then you totally upended your life because you assumed that if you did so, it would prove that you were serious, and they did not leave their partner, then you may have felt that that person tricked you in some way, and that may have created its own set of problems. The other thing too is that if this is a work-related matter, this may have something to do with going into partnership with somebody. Maybe you've even had to dissolve a partnership with the Justice card. I'm not sure about it professionally, but something along those lines, or making a choice about whether or not to bring in some kind of legal, lawyers dealing with a work matter. And so this can kind of explain what's going on, or whatever, because these are the current cards. We have the Page of Pentacles, which is a message about some finances, some kind of news. Also, it might even be documents that relate to work matters, or perhaps you are documenting expenditures. So, for instance, if there was a partnership that went awry, maybe a partner that was not being honest about the money, that you are kind of going back and looking at the receipts. And we also have here the Three of Swords. So this feeling of rejection, Well, one thing I want to say too with the Page of Pentacles is that sometimes this can be about seeking new work, talking to new employers, even starting a new job. But with the Three of Swords, either you can't get over what somebody did to you, or perhaps the communication that you're having is looking into these kinds of matters where you were passed over, which you may have taken as rejection. It might have been something that was done, and it's something that has prompted you to leave that situation. The Justice card, if it's not about an actual legal case or one that you're thinking about engaging in, it might be that you were seeking justice. You feel that something has been unfair. I was even thinking for the work situation, something to do with having a relationship with somebody in the office, and whether or not, you know, the fairness, or maybe somebody else is having an affair, and that's, you know, with the boss, and they're getting that special treatment because of that, and you find that very unfair. Also, the Three of Swords can be a card that speaks of a lover's triangle. So if somebody promised you that they were going to leave their current partner so that they could be with you, you may find out through the grapevine that they're still with that person. And again, this is not meant to just look at things in a very mundane way. This is meant to see how these things can change, how these events can be taken to the higher level and looked at as a cycle in your life. And you do have several, I mean, I only picked 6 cards, and you have 3 major arcana cards, Capricorn, which I'm not surprised about, because this year Capricorn and Cancer were still having eclipses. So the fallout of these changes can be seen right here. And for some of you, it is in the work sector. For some of you, it's in the relationship sector, and maybe it migrated, you know, because you got Pluto and the, yeah, you know, depending on what degree it is, and, you know, where it fell in your work sector or your home sector, and even the house of the self. And so what's coming in is represented by the 5 of Cups. So, you know, realizing what has, you know, come about that has been cause of, you know, feeling sorry about this loss and grieving this loss. Now, the reason this is significant is that it suggests that you're going to move on. It's not that you're going to just cling to hope about this. So, an example would be, you may have been working at a certain place of employment for years, and perhaps you were always kind of tantalized by this promise of a promotion, and this is really important to Capricorn. This is the idea of advancement. This is part of the mountain goat, climbing that mountain. The whole idea of a mountain is that it goes higher and higher, and so it's ascension. But ascension on the physical level, not that other type of ascension that we talk about that has to do with the spiritual. But no, just the physical life that we are living, and how you can better yourself here and now. And, you know, because of you having so much going on in your sign, and Saturn has recently retrograded back into your sign, it may feel like you have, you know, everything against you in a sense, because you have Pluto, you have Saturn, you have Jupiter, so that can be a saving grace. But these other transits are longer lasting, and then you had these eclipses, which kind of like were beyond your control. Things that were happening, and you just couldn't, there's nothing you could do about it really, but sit back and enjoy the show, go with the flow, and adjust. And so Capricorn being a cardinal sign, your first impulse in any situation is, there's got to be something I can do about this. And sometimes there isn't. Sometimes, well, it is doing, but it's becoming passive, like the high priestess, like the hermit. Be still and know. Meditate. Do some soul searching. Just stop needing to have it be other than what it's going to be. It's funny, I said that because here's another card that kind of is reminiscent of that, the Hangman, which is a card connected to Neptune. And Neptune is the ruler of the 12th house. And I think of the 12th house as the hermit house, the house of contemplation, the monk. It certainly isn't a house that I associate with doing on the outer level or anything like that. So, yeah, you know, the Hangman is about going with the flow. It's like letting go and letting God. This is a card of being in suspension. So this may be a time when you feel called to leave a situation, to leave a partnership, maybe a business partnership, maybe a place of employment, because you feel unappreciated. You feel like dissed. You feel second best. And maybe you have every right to feel that way, but it's like the emotion of it is temporary. The long-term situation is, what are you going to do instead? And you may not have any brilliant ideas. And so a great way of being able to enact this, what the Hangman represents, is to say, I don't need to do this tonight. I don't need to make this decision tonight. I can just accept what is happening today, maybe this week, maybe this month. I'm just going to, you know, let it be. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to try to change it. I'm just going to hang out. And maybe something will turn up. Maybe I'll get a job offer. The Page of Pentacles could be talking to somebody else about it. But it's not needing to, I got to do something about this, because there might not be anything you can do, and you might be running on emotion, and you might not be thinking clearly. If this is a romantic, like a lover's triangle situation, whether or not you are, I mean, with the Justice card, this could be like, maybe you're thinking of getting divorced because your partner has been cheating. Again, you may feel very compelled to try to solve this problem by getting divorced. But with the Five of Cups, getting to the heart of the matter is sometimes, you know, going to give you information that you need to, before you do anything else. So in other words, checking in with yourself. What does it feel like to have somebody cheat on me? What feelings are coming through? I mean, sadness, obviously grief, but what am I telling myself about the situation? And many times, the person will be telling themselves, I wasn't good enough for them. I wasn't sexy enough, pretty enough, nice enough, interesting enough. And we create these narratives. And that's the sad thing, because it may have nothing to do with what you think it does. It may have to do with that person not feeling sexy enough, interesting enough, successful enough. And they were looking for somebody new who doesn't know all of their faults to bolster them up and make them feel like they're really okay. And you're taking that as proof that you're not okay. And that's understandable that somebody would come to that conclusion, but it could be completely false. And even in the workplace, I mean, all these games that are played, these things are done because people feel like they have to prove themselves. They have to, like it's a jungle out there. We have to step over other people to get ours. And that is one of the toxic competitive ideas that leads to betrayal between co-workers, and if a boss favors one employee over another, it could be that that person is phony, that they're sucking up to them, and the boss, because they have issues, that they need to feel admired. They don't feel important in life. And so they are very vulnerable to something like that. So it's pretty deep, and that's why I wanted to get philosophical about this. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, Capricorn. If you would like a private reading, please check my offerings right now. I'm offering the best of both worlds, natal chart and a tarot reading, full-length readings for a special price. And you can find out more information at the link. Thank you so much for watching. It's called the Great, what's it called? The Whole Enchilada. But I have other types of readings too. Please check it out, and thank you for watching so much. I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye.